But listen, Daniel, thank you so much for the time you've given me. It's been great. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
So we're going to finish with my 10 questions on your cinematic identity.
All right. I have no idea what you're about to ask me, and I'm very, very excited about this.
Yeah, you can, just very quick answers are fine. You can give some caveats. The first 9, I ask the same ones, and the 10th one is kind of tailored to you a little bit.
All right.
So first question, what's your favorite cinema?
The Princeton Garden Theater in Princeton, New Jersey.
Fantastic. I don't know anything about that, and I'm definitely going to look it up now for sure. What streaming channels are you subscribed to?
The Criterion Channel. That's it.
Only that?
Only
no
that.
Netflix?
I do not have Netflix. We have like Hulu for free and stuff like that. But the only one I pay for gladly is the Criterion Channel.
Oh, okay. That's great. Sometimes I shouldn't really say this, but using a VPN, you couldn't get access to it from the UK.
Yeah.
But it's great. Yeah. Without a doubt. Again, in the context of going to the cinema, watching alone or watching with friends?
It depends. I don't really, like you said before, I don't prefer either one. I don't really prefer either one because the friends I have that we know how to behave in the movies.
Okay. Front row or back row?
Oh, back row. Back row.
Okay.
Back row, definitely.
Right. I keep expecting people to hedge, but people have got a very clear sense.
No, that's a no-brainer.
Okay. The actor, actress that you will watch in anything. Either one, whatever you want to say.
That's hard to even think of one, but I would say, today, I would say Cary Grant.
Okay.
I would watch Cary Grant do anything.
Right. The actor or actress you just don't get. Everybody else thinks they're great or whatever, but you don't get it.
There's a couple. I have this irrational, and I'll admit it, irrational loathing for Will Ferrell. I just can't.
Okay.
People talk about him. People are like, "You're a funny guy. Don't you love Anchorman?" I'm like, I just can't. Like every December when people start talking about Elf, it's like I have like this visceral reaction to him. But in terms of like a serious actor, one of the things we talk about on the podcast, Mike always talks about how people talk about Benedict Cumberbatch like he's supposed to be, the next Olivier or something, and kind of like he's fine, something like that. But Will Ferrell is really he's my nemesis.
Right. So this is question 7. The most physically affected you've been in the cinema. Take that how you will.
I think in a good way, the most physically affected I've ever been is one of the times is I said before about seeing Raging Bull.
Right.
And at the end, when the quotation comes up, I was blind, but now I see. I remember sitting there, and it was at the Garth Theater, and the place was full, and just sitting there, and I was like so shaken up and moved by that. I remember that like really, really distinctly. I also remember, it's funny how this conversation is so circular. None of us was planned, but I remember seeing Chinatown in a theater with one of my kids who had never seen it, and I dragged him there. And when the scene got to the reveal about she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my sister, and you could feel like the audience get upset. Right. So it's funny. I think I'm giving more of I'm coming towards your side more on certain things about the context. Like you're making me think about it a lot. So those were 2 moments where I really like that. I really remember the heaviness of it. But I also remember being a kid and seeing The Empire Strikes Back long before social media. So when we got to the surprise in that, I mean, you're 9 years old or whatever, and you're like,
brain explosion.
So that I remember where I was sitting when when that happened.
Right. Okay, question 8. Walk out or stick it to the bitter end?
I have walked out, but usually I'll stick it to the bitter end.
Okay. Seeing as you've said that, sub-question, what's the last film you walked out of and why did you do it?
I can't remember the name of it. I think it was called The Assassin.
All right.
And it was a Chinese film that purported to be about assassin, but it was just going on forever. And I looked at my son and I'm like, we're going to boot. But I recently saw, for the first time, I saw The 7-Year Itch in theaters. Billy Wilder, Marilyn Monroe, What's Not to Love. I mean, I don't know if you're like, I just think it's a fascinatingly terrible movie. Forget that Billy Wilder's behind it, and it was really crowded, and I was gonna leave because I'm like, I can't listen to this narration anymore. But I'm like, whatever. I'm here by myself. Just stick it out. So
yeah. I tend to be. I mean, I've become more of a walker out over the years, where it's like life's too short.
Life's too short. And you talk about context at home. It's much easier to be a walker out.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. Okay, number 9. What film would be a relationship deal breaker? So again, take that how you will, but whether it's a film that you love, and if the other person didn't love it, then that would be it.
So I am not too proud to admit that when I was courting my wife, I would just kind of like, we would watch movies sometimes, and I would put on a movie and see what she thought. It's like, here's this movie, Miller's Crossing. What do you think? Right? And you know, it was a little test. And I did find out later on that Quentin Tarantino, he would test people he would show them Rio Bravo, and he would judge your reaction. So I think a test movie would have to be, I mean, if I said 2001, I mean, you know, does my wife love this movie like I do? No, she doesn't think about it all the time, and she wouldn't hang up a poster like that. So you don't have to love it as much. You have to at least say, though, like, that's cool. Like, I totally get why you're into that.
Yeah.
But if somebody said to me, you know, I think it's boring, or, you know, I don't see what the big fuss is about Citizen Kane, I'd be like, all right, we got to go to council.
Well, it's like, if somebody said to me, my favorite movie of all time is Sex and the City 2, I'd be like,
or
this relationship is already over. You know?
If the first time you're at the blind date and they're like, you know, I think, you know, Anchorman 2 was probably the best. That was better than Citizen Kane. You're like, check, please.
Yeah. Okay, final question. This one is for you. So, what film would you like to see over again for the first time in the cinema?
Oh, wow.
If you could erase it from your mind.
That's funny, because I always think about that. I always wish we had the Men in Black thing you could hold up and erase. So that's a great question, because the movies we love get better the more times we see them.
That's true.
And they become more profound, but you wish you could have that first time. I mean, I wish I could see Godfather 2 again. For the first time.
That's a great choice. Yeah.
For the first time going through it and not realize, because it's impossible to even go into that not knowing what it's about. But I'd say Godfather 2 would be a great one.
Fantastic. Dan, thanks so much for coming on. It's been great speaking to you.
I had such a good time talking to you, Dara. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, man.